Well, I think what this summit does for Putin is sets the stage for what he needs to do to Trump, which is get him back under control, get him back under his KGB trained manipulation.
That was John Bolton on this program just last week. President Trump said today he didn't know anything about the FBI search of the home and office of his former national security advisor. Trump did take the opportunity, however, to criticize Bolton, calling him a sleazebag and a lowlife. Ed O'Keefe, neither of those things, joins me now from the North Lawn of the White House.
That could have gone all sorts of ways.
It sure could have, Ed. Ed, I want to play for the audience's benefit. I know you've heard it, what the vice president told NBC News about this series of raids today. Let's play that sound, ladies and gentlemen.
Is Ambassador Bolton being targeted because he's a critic of President Trump?
No, not at all. And in fact, if we were trying to do that, we would just throw out prosecutions willy-nilly like the Biden administration DOJ did, prosecutions that later got thrown out in court. If we bring a case, and of course we haven't done that yet, the Department of Justice has not done that yet, we are investigating Ambassador Bolton, but if they ultimately bring a case, it will be because they determine that he has broken the law. We're going to be careful about that. We're going to be deliberate about that because we don't think that we should throw people, even if they disagree with us politically, maybe especially if they disagree with us politically. You shouldn't throw people willy-nilly in prison. You should let the law drive these determinations, and that's what we're doing.
Those assurances really covered the entire legal battle space here, Ed. So the vice president trying to reassure the country this isn't anything that you should be alarmed about.
Yeah, very nothing to see here, but that excessive use of the word "we" might be something that the Bolton lawyers keep in mind as they consider appeals and challenges to this investigation, should charges ever be brought against John Bolton, which as of this hour, they have not. But normally you don't hear the president or the vice president talk about "we are investigating someone." It's the Justice Department, its investigators are looking into somebody, and you note there that he says, "We'll let it run its course." Well, that might be part of it. You may just want to let it run a course that drags out for a long time and keeps a pretty prominent and vocal Trump critic now tied up in court, or at least having to pay some pretty hefty legal fees, as what appears to be the revival now of an investigation that began in the later months of the first Trump administration out of concern that Bolton had access to and was mishandling classified information that later ended up in a 2020 memoir after he left his job as the president's third national security advisor. That case was dropped by the Biden administration in the early weeks of the Biden era, but after a federal judge reviewing the matter admonished Bolton for his handling of classified information and suggested that he may have, in fact, jeopardized national security. So there could be merit to this, and we will see where the investigation goes and whether it yields charges. But certainly today's developments signal that the Justice Department is once again looking into Bolton and what he may have done in his past.
Ed O'Keefe in the North Lawn of the White House. As always, sir, thanks so very much.